Okay.
All right, it's 7 o'clock. I'd like to welcome everyone here in chambers and watching from home to the regular meeting of the Bangor School Committee for Wednesday, May 13th. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We're moving next to adjustments to the agenda. We do have an adjustment tonight. Superintendent Robinson?
Yes, I would like to propose that we table our Fairmount reorganization plan, item D1A.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Member Speed?
Yeah, I just wanted to fully understand. I know that the packet included the presentation. Will we have a chance to discuss updates and answer any questions throughout the evening?
Absolutely. During my report, I'm happy to answer questions. Anything, yeah.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Did you want to say anything, Superintendent Robinson? Yeah, please.
There's no one else. I just wanted to thank everyone again for the input and the feedback that we've received. We are doing the best that we can to be responsive and also be really mindful of the short timeline. I just want to reiterate that this has been and continues to be a challenge, one that's been unexpected for all of us. And in a perfect world, we would love to have a lot more time to consider many, many more options and have more time for everyone to, I guess, really get used to the idea that there's a change happening. Unfortunately, the reality of the situation is that our timeline is short. In response to the feedback, we have decided to table this decision. It does limit the timeline for our staff. So I want to extend my thanks and gratitude to them for really hanging in there, and also for our administrators who have worked countless hours trying to map out and determine, whether various plans would work, and our business office looking at the fiscal impact of all those options. So it's been nonstop, really working hard. So I just want to extend my thank you to everyone, and we're looking forward to developing the best plan possible, again, given this short timeline, this temporary plan for next year. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And I just have a few brief remarks I want to share, and then I know Member Sprague you wanted to hop into. I'm supportive of delaying the vote on the temporary school reorganizational plan for all the reasons outlined in Superintendent Robinson's communication this morning. Overwhelmingly, feedback from our school community has been respectful, constructive, and helpful to our thinking about these critical issues. That type of feedback makes school communities stronger. And if a superior plan is identified as a result of this additional time, That's a very good outcome. I do want to express a cautionary tone. We have roughly 100 days between now and the beginning of the school year, and it doesn't matter what plan we eventually approve. It's going to be complicated. Difficult decisions that affect many people are going to need to be made. Challenges we may not have even considered are going to arise, and time is an important factor. In my opinion, it's critical that we be ready to make a final decision in 2 weeks. And I also want to take this opportunity to be honest with the public about the 2 filters that I'm mainly using to make judgments about these reorganizational plans. The first filter is safety. Which plan ensures to the highest level possible the safety of our students and our faculty? Second is maintaining high-quality educational opportunities. Which plan achieves to the highest level possible maintaining high-quality educational opportunities for our students? Those are the questions and criteria that have been and will continue to most guide my decision-making on this critically important issue. Thank you. Member Sprague?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Superintendent, and thank you everybody who's here this evening. I think I know almost every single person in this room, and I actually love that. It feels like Sesame Street in a good way. It's nice to see you all here, including some of our young residents as well, whose voices matter a lot too. I'm probably going to save a lot of my comments for next week after the listening sessions and then at our next meeting, because I don't want to myself get too far ahead of this. I want to let those things play out, but I do think that we have certainly a lot still to discuss, and eventually we'll discuss. I think it's fair to discuss what we could have done better during this process, and we'll recap that, and we can, that's a conversation for a later time, and it matters too. But this whole situation resonates with all of us here. Every single one of us is a parent of school-age kids who are going to be affected by this one way or another. So we are with you in this and dealing with these challenges. I think one thing that's been abundantly clear over the last 2 or 3 weeks is how strongly people feel about their neighborhood schools. It's the reason why so many of us either stayed here or moved back here or chose to come here was for the neighborhood schools. And that's a beautiful thing. And whatever plan emerges forth, I hope we can keep as much of the sentiments and the true realities of the neighborhood schools, both for the short term, but for the long term as well. It's part of the DNA of this community. It's part of the fabric of who we are. We have these neighborhood schools that, yes, are costly in some ways, but it's part of who we are as a community, not just a school department, but as a community. I also want to acknowledge, and I think we all do, I don't claim to speak for the group, but I know that we all feel what staff are experiencing right now. There is anxiety, there is sadness, there is uncertainty. Nobody should be in the spring of a school year feeling so much uncertainty. We feel that along with you. And there's no easy answer to that, but we see it, we feel it too. And there's just so many families that are experiencing these feelings too. We feel them in our own household. All of you do too. And I'm going to say that Fairmount is the catalyst here, but of course, a lot of schools are involved with this conversation now. And I do just want to note that I think the middle schoolers sometimes get forgotten a little bit in this conversation because it's a Fairmount issue, but the middle schoolers, it's easy to think, well, they're older, they're going to be more resilient. Well, the middle schoolers are actually children too, and they have their own anxieties about this, and they're in this phase of life where they're just trying to figure it out too. They're trying to figure out where they fit in. And I'm going to talk for my son would probably not like me speaking on his behalf, but he identifies as a dowdy bulldog, and that is a part of who he is. And I think if there was a plan where he ended up at Cohen by lunch on the first day, he'd probably be fine, but he would have a lot of anxiety leading into that. And he, I think, is pretty well adjusted and would be okay, but there's a lot of students that might not be as okay with such a big change all at once. So the middle schoolers, the middle school staff, they're a big part of this too. I think, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I think the consolidation plan has some merits. Ideally, it would have been a conversation that started 10 years ago. It didn't. That was largely because we have these attachments to the neighborhood schools, and a lot of it was budgetary. It was deferred maintenance for sure, but it was a reflection that a new school the starting cost is probably $100 million. And we have a lot of challenges in this community. People might not like the reason why we didn't have the conversation earlier. We could have had the conversation, but we didn't move on it largely for budgetary reasons. But we can have that conversation now, and we are. It is unfortunate that it feels so rushed and so stressed right now, but that's the reality we're in. I would love it, and I think we all would, if some one-year reprieve option could be found here, which was either seeing if we could salvage Fairmount for a year to buy time. I think we would all want that. I understand there might be reasons that could be shared at some point, maybe tonight, maybe Monday in the listening sessions, maybe the next meeting, about just why that is that Fairmount maybe can't be, because I think people are feeling the inconsistency of why are we still there now, but it's not safe in the fall. What is the disconnect there? That's a question I have myself. I think others do too. But I guess I will just wind this down by saying if we could find a one-year reprieve, if it is salvaging Fairmount for a year, or the analogy I kind of think about is, could we like basically have a helicopter go in and airlift the Fairmount community together into one spot and keep them all whole for 1 year? I don't know what that looks like, but that's kind of the way I think about it, of keeping that group together. And yes, it's going to be very disruptive for that group, but maybe we find a one-year solution that doesn't then disrupt everybody else for 1 year, and we figure it out for a year. And then we just rally behind those Fairmount kids for a year and the staff as a community. We just make it happen and give them like a memorable year that we're super positive on them, and they will get through that year, and it will be one of the best years of their educational lives. And I don't know what it looks like, but I think we can do it. And I think we can. I don't know what it looks like, but I think we can do it. And I think that we're going to need everybody to come around on some plan together that in the short term disrupts the fewest people possible. And then we have the community conversation together about what the long term is going to look like.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Member Sprague. Are we ready to vote on the motion? Member Speed? Yep. No, please, Member Speed. Or, oh, no, Member O'Keefe, sorry.
I mean, this seems like the appropriate time to say this, but I echo absolutely with what Member Sprague said and what Member Surratt said. And I want to speak to the parents. Like, I am you, as Ben said. Member Sprague, I call him Ben. I don't take this decision lightly, and I stay awake at night trying to think of solutions that are actually fair, that are fiscally responsible, that are possible in the short timeline that we have. And I want you to know that I think that everybody on the school committee truly ran to be on the school committee because we love the students. We love this city that we're in. And we make mistakes because we're human beings, but ultimately we have the same goal, and that is what's best for the children of Bangor, Maine. And I feel the need to say that the board is curious, we're reasonable, we're compassionate, and that we're here to listen. And that's one of the reasons why we're delaying this vote, is that there's new developments, but also we can't delay it forever because there's a timeline, and there's children that need to, and teachers that need to, make plans for the summer, and even the children can be better understanding, what's going on. So I just want to say that I've heard you, I've listened to you, responded to some of you, and I have full faith and confidence in the Bangor School Committee, the Bangor School Department, and that's it.
Thank you, Member O'Keefe. Member Speed?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank folks for their comments so far. I agree with comments said so far. Thank you for your sentiments. I applaud Member Sprague for expressing the values that he has, and I agree with him. I think it's important to get this right. It's really important to get this right, because there's a choice that could have long-term effects, and there's hopefully a choice out there that has shorter-term effects. And I thank Superintendent Robinson for delaying the vote, and Chair Surratt as well, because I think we need more time, and we need to have more evidence of the options. And we need to hear from parents. So hearing from parents on the 18th is really important. And I also want to speak, first off, I know folks have thanked a lot of different people, and I agree with them, Director Finney, Superintendent Robinson, school administrators, folks with facilities. But I want to start with thanking the students. Like, the students are why we're here and why we're doing what we're doing. Thank the parents as well as the teachers. I know that Chair Surratt, I agree with your priorities as far as safety and educational opportunities. I think that's an important lens to set. But I also think it's important to have a lens of community input, minimum disruption, and also thinking about what's attainable. So I think those are key things. And I know Superintendent Robinson, you've put in your report, kind of the priorities of goals that you have as well. So I'm hoping tonight we'll have a good conversation, that public input will continue to pour in, and we'll continue to get emails and a lot of great ideas on the 18th. But I also hope that we can come away tonight having a shared vision of what that criteria is, right? As far as how we're evaluating this decision, and how we're prioritizing how to make that decision. So again, thank you for everyone's participation and input, and appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Member Speed. Member Cook?
Thank you. Shy of keeping the Fairmount School open, I don't think a decision could be made that's going to appease everyone in this room or everyone out in the community. But I think we're going to try to make the best decision possible. And so I think you all in here, as leaders in this community who have already used your voices or who will use your voice tonight, I think Member Sprague's wife, who I like to refer as Superior Mallory, said this quite well, that it is up to us to really model to our children, positive attitudes about this, and really sort of lift up whatever this plan is, so that, they feel good about it, and, just show them that, we have to be resilient, and whatever this is, we're going to make the best of it. And as Member Sprague said, if it's a place where all of the Fairmount kids are together, or wherever they end up, let's make this the best year possible for them.
Thank you, Member Cook. Anybody else? All right. Superintendent Robinson, you wanted to mention something else?
Yes, I just wanted to add, in terms of the listening sessions, that will include a presentation, but then also breakout rooms. And those will be organized based on topic, and folks will have an opportunity to navigate around to offer their input and feedback and ideas. So that's being coordinated so that it's really structured and allows us to gather the information and really consider it heavily throughout the next week or so.
Thank you. Any other discussion before we vote? All right, all those in favor?
7-0. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to public comments. And I do have a statement I need to read before we move on to public comment. Members of the public may address the school committee for up to 3 minutes on school and education matters. Public comments shall be directed to the school committee and be brief and not repetitive. The school committee's practice is not to respond or debate with speakers during the public comment period. We are here to listen. The superintendent or her staff will follow up on comments outside of the meeting as appropriate. The committee will not permit profanity or shouting and requests that speakers be civil. Discussion of specific personnel or student matters and complaints concerning specific employees or students will not be allowed, but will be addressed through established policies and procedures. Before speaking, we encourage speakers to review School Committee Policy AC, which provides that the committee does not and will not discriminate nor tolerate discrimination against students or employees on the basis of membership in a protected class. Speakers who share comments contrary to this policy will not be allowed to continue. Before starting, please state your name and place of residence. Who would like to come up to the podium for public comment?
I'm president of Bangor, and I just have a general comment about education. Thanks to Annie's article in the Bangor Daily News this week, I'm aware of what's going on with this agenda item, but I didn't know it was on tonight. my statement is, and I thank the council and the city for allowing this space for people to just publicly comment about education in this room. K through 12 students in all schools should know three basic things, especially elementary school students before they head into middle schools. And I think we should assess them on it. One is how many hours in the day are there? 24 hours in the day on Earth. Two is how many days in the year are there? 365.25 days in the year on Earth. The third is not being taught today in any of our schools, and it's how many times does a magnetic field intersect with the surface of the Earth every day, every 24 hours? The answer is twice every day. And it should be taught in schools. When we went to schools, say for somebody like you, the rest of us went, we didn't live in a totally electromagnetic age that these children are growing up in today. We didn't rely on phones that were electromagnetic. Our cars were mechanically devised. Automobiles with a radio, yeah, sure, that's electromagnetic. But today, all the cars are infused with electromagnetic essentials that we call computers. But all of that doesn't take gas, but it still takes energy. And it's not magic energy. We don't pull that out of our magic hats or anything like that. They draw it through engineering out and from our environment and interconnected with all of us. So those three things, if we can get them on the agenda at some point, that'd be great. And thank you very much for your time. And yeah, if I had kids going into middle school, I'd be nerve-wracked too.
All right, thank you, Michael. All right, next public speaker, if you just state your name and city of residence, please.
Sure. Good evening, school committee, Superintendent Robinson. My name is Josh Bridges, for those of you who don't already know me, and I live here in Bangor. I am the proud father of 2 kids at the Bangor School Department. Last week, I sent you each a letter emphasizing the importance of transparency and communication regarding the proposed closure of Fairmount School. I commend your decision to table the decision tonight while more options can be fully explored. Over the last 2 weeks, this community has already brought forward thoughtful and creative ideas. Parents, teachers, and residents have shown up in good faith, asking questions, offering alternatives, yet we feel those ideas have not seriously been considered until now. While listening sessions scheduled for next week, if the listening sessions for next week are really going to mean anything, they need to be listening sessions and not simply opportunities to defend a decision that's already been made. I also believe school committee members should be present and actively engaged in those conversations as well. I'll be candid. Many families have lost confidence in the process, but I still believe this committee has an opportunity to rebuild trust by slowing down, asking harder questions like you are tonight, and demonstrating that community input truly matters. Your vote on this issue will likely be one of the most consequential votes you cast as members of this board. Your responsibility is not simply to make a decision quickly. It is to make the right decision with the confidence and support of family, educators, and the taxpayers you all serve. Right now, by any measure, that support is not there. I respectfully ask you to continue the dialogue and give this community confidence that every option has truly been considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
So, my name is Megan Bridges, and I'm a resident of Bangor. I'm a parent of 1 student at Dowdy and 1 at Fairmount. I also have a background in education with degrees in math and engineering and experience teaching high school math. I also attended Bangor schools K through 12 myself. First, I want to applaud your decision to pause the reconfiguration proposal. Families were presented with sweeping changes affecting hundreds of students and staff with very little transparency and meaningful collaboration. Many community members felt the engagement process was performative from the start. We need a process that genuinely considers all ideas, not just one predetermined option. Secondly, we need to support our teachers. I can stand here publicly, but many teachers do not feel safe challenging authority. I know this from personal conversations and from the many messages I've received from staff across the district. Our teachers are the people closest to students every day. They know what works, they have valuable ideas, and they deserve to be included in these decisions without fear of retaliation. Third, we should disrupt as few students and teachers as possible while we develop thoughtful, long-term solutions. Teachers want to stay together whenever possible. Neighborhood schools are one reason many families choose Bangor. Busing grades 4 through 8 across the city is not what families want, and it raises serious concerns about cost, feasibility, and access to extracurricular activities. One option worth exploring is the available space at Bangor High School. The building was designed for a much larger student population than it currently serves, and there must be creative ways to use that space effectively. There has been damage done to trust in this district, but there's still time to rebuild it. Bangor deserves a transparent, collaborative process that includes teachers and families every step of the way. I urge you to reject option 3 and move forward with a process worthy of this community's trust. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please, whenever you're ready.
My name is Kevi Ellis. I live in Bangor. I have a student at 14th Street who's in 3rd grade and a student who's in 6th grade at Dowdy. I wanted to come speak at the last meeting. I was not able to because of the short notice of the information that was going to be discussed. My issue, I'm not as concerned with the closure and reorganization as I am concerned about not just a lack of communication, but based on my experience, has been a resistance to communication from certain administrators. I did not fill out the survey because, as others have mentioned, it appeared to be, it felt performative. It felt like a farce, and it seemed like a decision had unilaterally been made already. I do commend that you have voted to postpone that discussion, and I really appreciate that. I will be attending the listening sessions on Monday. But my big concern throughout this whole thing, beyond communication, is the consistency for students. My daughter is in 6th grade. Her kindergarten year, COVID shut it down. Granted, that's not anything anyone could control. But now she is facing the potential of having 2 school transitions from one school to another in 2 years. And based on some of the rumors, possibly 3 in 3 years. And that just really is not good for her stability and her trust in, I mean, she doesn't know who she's going to be with from year to year. So she can't build those relationships with teachers and administrators like, most everyone else does in their school career. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's up there. See the green? Yep.
My name is Alexandra Henricks. I've lived in Bangor for 13 years and have 3 children currently at Westside Schools. I'm a children's book editor, former school librarian, and have a master's in U.S. history with a focus on education. I'm also a children's book author and as such travel to schools all over Maine where I see a variety of, shall we say, creative solutions to aging buildings, changing school populations, and stretched resources. In other words, I'm invested in Bangor, Maine schools, and children's education in every part of my life. I have felt dismayed as well at the district leadership's opaque process this spring around the Fairmount closure, the initial lack of communication, and then when pressured by parents, the bare minimum of confusing, hard to find, and misleading communication that followed. For example, until 7:45 this morning, the so-called listening schedules were scheduled for after a decision would have been made. And Dr. Robinson, you confirmed to me in writing that your intention was not to listen to community stakeholders, but instead to, and I quote, provide definitive finalized plans to parents and staff during the sessions. I am relieved that you've changed course today. I want to express my strong hope that you'll do better moving forward, that you will communicate clearly, quickly, and through as many avenues as possible, making a true effort to reach all of your constituents. Because our trust has been broken and communication so vague, it's difficult to believe that this is a temporary plan, despite your use of that word even tonight, temporary, when there's no line item in the budget for repairing Fairmount or any other indication of what the next steps are towards long-term planning. I am not opposed to the district consolidating. I read the Oak Point study and think there are some options worth exploring. I will note option 3 was not among them. And given the immense resources the city invested in that study, it would be nice to actually explore some of those options. But making long-term decisions in a rushed fashion is unwise. I am among many who would like an explicit commitment that any plan decided upon this spring will only be for 1 year, as well as a detailed outline of the steps that will be taken to come up with our next long-term plan, and how those steps will involve community stakeholders. We have the capacity to close one school. That does not address the deteriorating infrastructure across the majority of our schools and what we will do when the next emergency arises, as it surely will, and soon. We need repair in our buildings and in our trust in leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Good evening. My name is Michael Beck. I'm speaking as an individual and as a parent with 2 children at Fairmount and another child at Doughty. So our family is certainly affected with what's going on here. And tonight, I guess I just want to offer some words of encouragement. I've lived in Bangor about 10 years. My wife grew up here, and that's why she wanted to move back. Schools are why I said yes. And I will tell you, with 3 kids, actually an older child from my first marriage, also having attended Bangor schools, I have not been disappointed. I have trusted this school district with all of my children, and I will tell you tonight that trust is as strong as ever. You have a difficult decision ahead of you, and I appreciate that you're listening to all of the feedback that people are providing. And I know every parent has a different perspective of how that's happening. From my perspective, I just realize it's a tough decision. And I don't envy your position. And as far as I know, this is unprecedented in the city of Bangor. So this is something unique. I know that whatever that decision is that you come to, my children are going to be okay. In fact, I think they're going to be more than okay. I think they're going to continue to thrive. And that's thanks to the school committee, the superintendent, all of the staff, all of the teachers, everyone who day in and day out affect my children's lives. And I am deeply appreciative of the level of education they're receiving and continue to receive. And I just want you to know, I know that you're losing sleep over this, as parents are as well. But I see you and I appreciate you and your service to this community, to my children, to all of our children. And, I look forward to seeing how this process continues to play out, and just continue doing the best that you can. And I know that we'll come to a decision, and some will like it, some won't, but it will be the best decision that we are capable of making. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody, my name is Brian Hendricks. I'm a parent in Bangor with kids at 14th, Fairmount, and Doughty. I want to echo the frustrations being voiced about the process tonight, but I also want to offer comments that are intended to be constructive. I know many of you and appreciate your service. First, I urge the committee to develop and share your plan for athletics, music, busing, and mitigating class size increases for option 3 or for any new option that's on the table. It'd be great to have that information shared before the final vote is taken. I think that's where I'm hearing a lot of that student anxiety, teacher anxiety, is just the unknowns about those details where kids do build their identities. In the current option 3, I'm also wondering how would school populations at Dowdy and Cohen grow by 40% without severely harming student to teacher ratios and diluting opportunities? Again, these are questions to hopefully answer before, not after a vote. Looking forward, after a temporary solution is established, I hope this committee and school department and really everybody in this room will be part of taking clear steps toward funding the major issues identified in the Oak Point study. It's clear that under any reorganization scenario, our facilities will need construction bonds and an affiliated bond campaign on a scale that the city hasn't seen in generations. It's going to take strong leadership and careful communication to ensure public sentiment gets behind the bond effort, especially in this economy. Myself and others are ready to champion this effort to ensure our schools get the investment they need before we lose more students and families from the district. And lastly, not to end on a sour note, but I haven't heard this raised yet, but a lot of us who have kids at Fairmount are looking for assurance that our kids have been safe in their school. Real, like, I don't know, some of the studies, some of the medical assurances, some of the details that maybe you have access to that we have not had access to. We've gotten a sentence here or there in some of the communications. We want to know that they've been safe and that they will continue to be safe this spring, and to know what impacts we should be looking out for. So it is really a tragedy that the district has let it get this bad, but hopefully it's a turning point and a wake-up call that we can't delay large-scale investment any longer. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Excuse me, Adam Baker, Bangor resident. All my words are my own and don't reflect any committee. I'm just shortly here to I wanted to say this, or for the school committee or whatnot, just advocacy about not using AI in schools and replacing it with real human like teaching and like having those personal connections. I know I've been in Bangor all my life and I've been K through 12 through public school, and I'm entirely thankful for all the teachers that personally like took the time with me, and just I think that human connection is invaluable. So I just encourage that anything AI related is heavily taken in consideration and not used in schools. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Want to help her, Ray?
Oh, actually, you're all set.
Oh,
The microphone's up there. So it'll be-
and you do not need to tell us your name or residence.
I'm a fourth grader at Vermont School and I love it. I want you to save my school. I love my teachers, I love my friends, and there is so much history there. From the teachers, who many of which went there as a kid, to the walls where you can see every student's name who ever went to Fairmount on the bricks. Me and my friends walked to school together, and we have been looking forward to going into 5th grade and writing our names on the bricks. But now we will have no bricks to write on at all. I have a little sister who I wanted to have the same opportunities I had at Fairmount. Me and my friends have also been working to plan and fundraise for a seesaw, but if this is about money, we can instead fundraise for Fairmount. I know it probably won't be enough, but I believe that if we work together as a community and if we are given the opportunity, we can make it happen. Please save our school.
Thank you very much.
Be a hard act to follow.
Please, yeah.
Evening, my name is Dr. Alec Anderson. I'm a resident of Bangor. I'm a father of current students in 14th Street as well as Fairmont, and I've been a physician in Bangor since 2018. As a doctor, my job is to partner with patients in decision-making with issues that are often complex and options that are often intimidating and time-sensitive. While I sometimes have the benefit of working with patients with whom I have a longstanding relationship, most of the time, patients and I are coming together as strangers to create solutions to problems that affect both well-being and quality of life. Building and maintaining trust in these situations requires honesty and integrity and an open and timely transmission of all available information. Over the course of the last 2 weeks, the guarded release of information and the presentation of false options, such as portable classrooms that are neither financially nor temporally feasible, has significantly degraded the trust that the community has in the school board and the superintendent. And that's hindered the ability to create viable solutions for moving forward these pressing matters. I'd ask the school committee to regain the confidence of the community with full disclosure and transparency of information regarding the current state and scope of facility issues in our schools, and by meaningfully engaging with both parents and teachers, who are the primary stakeholders, to create solutions that promote both well-being of our students, as well as the quality of life for all the families in Bangor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greetings. You said the microphone's on the wall. My name is Kelly Strout, and I'm a parent of 2 children at James F. Dowdy School. I had the wonderful opportunity of being part of the Fairmount School community for 4 consecutive years. In the summer of 2022, I attended a scheduled meeting at Fairmount. At the same time, I was coordinating a multi-million-dollar renovation on an old building where I work. Because of that experience, I was acutely aware of the deferred maintenance status of the school. And I even remember thinking, geez, I can't even believe we send kids to school here. Later that evening at dinner, my oldest son asked if we had gone to the school that day, and we said yes. He immediately said, "Did you go to Miss Susie's classroom? Isn't it the greatest place on earth?" That comment brought me back to reality. Schools are not defined by the prestige or glamour of their buildings. They're defined by how children feel inside them. They're defined by what they learn there and how those experiences shape them into who they become. The people that make the children feel safe, valued, inspired, and capable of achieving anything beyond what they wildly imagine possible are our teachers. For the past 11 years, I've watched this district achieve excellence in academics, band, athletics, math, and student opportunity, most often competing with districts with far greater resources and far nicer buildings. We achieve those outcomes because we have exceptional teachers. We're operating in a statewide teacher shortage. Schools across Maine are struggling to recruit and retain high-quality teachers. We cannot afford to create systems and communication channels that leave educators feeling excluded from major decisions that directly impact students and their daily work. This is why I'm deeply concerned about the recent reorganization process and the communication surrounding it. It is clear to me that teachers were excluded from this process, and I study burnout. And 2 of the strongest predictors of turnover are employees not feeling valued and not having meaningful contributions and input into decisions that directly affect them. We cannot preserve excellence through a top-down reorganization process. If we want Bangor to remain a high-performing district where families want to live, learn, and stay, we need the right people at the table for this reorganization, especially of this magnitude. Teachers, staff, leaders from academics, accelerated programming, special education, band, music, JMG, and all essential other areas that make this district what it is. I understand crises happen, we all live through COVID, but excellent districts respond with transparency, collaboration, and trust in the professionals closest to the work. Thank you.
Thank you.
I make a specific comment to the agenda item rather than.
No, I'm sorry. Only 1 comment for public comment. Yeah,
City Hall, but thank you.
absolutely. Thank you. Please.
Christina Murphy. I'm a resident of Bangor, and I, like many in the room, have come to ask for transparency. I have come to ask for data, and I have come to ask for time. And I am relieved that a small amount of time has been granted and that additional consideration is being placed on critical decisions affecting our children. but I am still here to plead for transparency. I realize that data are never complete and that information can change, but we do not have the information that you have. And without access to relevant findings and reports or the plan and development, we don't have the resources that you have to work with for solutions, and we cannot understand. Please share the data being considered. As you consider the options, please do not throw our children into murky fixes. Do not sideline one school in a solution that affects few and so threatens to become a permanent divide. I would consider carefully burdens, safety, transportation, age-appropriate facilities, playgrounds, friendships, physical infrastructure. Sidelining elementary students to the high school, for example, would not be safe. Schools need to be accessible by routes other than school bus and car alone. Consider carefully the suggestions of your talented teachers on the ground who will guide our children through these tumultuous times and share out ideas, share out evidence, and share out data, please. As this moves forward, provide transparency in long-term district goals, transparency in information, and transparency in justifications. Demonstrate that you have thought through the implications and present a vision for how we can work together and bring our community into shared solutions. Information vacuums, by definition, arise from a failure to satisfy informational demands during crises, and we are in an information vacuum. Poor crisis communication is persistent, and I cannot stress enough as a parent and as a taxpayer that improvement in information flow and data transparency, and this has been mentioned many times, is critical before a decision is made, not just before or when it is presented. If the goal includes current and long-term community support, we as the community need to know the details behind what is happening, and most importantly, the data justifying why.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Megan Anderson of Bangor. I'm an attorney and a mom of both current and future Fairmount students. I'm here, like so many others tonight, to urge this committee to work with the administration to craft an evidence-based solution to this current crisis. Just because I think history is helpful to understanding our current context, I'm just going to go over what happened in the last 2 weeks. First, it was announced that Fairmount must shutter before the next school year. We were offered options to accommodate our displaced students. We were then told that most of these options weren't feasible. Shortly thereafter, Superintendent Robinson announced the selection of a consolidation plan to be implemented in T-minus 3 months, which was originally set for a vote tonight. But as of this morning, the vote is off and we're apparently back to the drawing board. Potential solutions for next year include eking out another year at Fairmount or putting would-be Fairmount students at the high school. We've been told that our school is safe to finish out the year, yet my 4th grader tells me that for the last 2 weeks, the windows have been shut tight for air quality testing. Fairmount teachers are beginning to pack their classrooms. Some are looking for other jobs. Unable to get the information that we need from administration, community members are resorting to Freedom of Access Act requests to unravel the factual underpinning of our children's futures. This is chaos. And at the heart of this chaos are more than 250 students and their incredible dedicated teachers. These kids and their teachers and their families deserve to know where they're going to school, not just next year, but in years to come. I appreciate that this committee was able to slow this free fall by accomplishing this delayed vote. But what must happen before another proposal or option is set forward is for this committee to sit down and ask the difficult questions, such as what is the state of Fairmount? If the kids are headed back, we need a full-throated explanation of why it is in fact safe. We need to know the results of those air quality tests. We need to iron out all the logistics if we're doing a cross-district plan, what so many of my community members have raised already tonight. We need to know what will happen if we do eke out that extra year at Fairmount, if there's a mid-year emergency like Superintendent Robinson has alluded to in the past. In order to gather this full information from the administration, gathering this full information from the administration is essential because we need to understand the scope of the issues before us before we can make any kind of real decision. And what is also essential, as so many people have said tonight, is to make this information also available to families, all of it, all the data sets, all of the people who worked on these decisions, their thought process. We at this point, we all need to know. Only then can we craft a coherent way forward, not just for next year, but for the next decade. And because no one has cut me off yet, I want to end by acknowledging the incredible work of our teachers, who are truly some of the finest educators I have ever interacted with. They deserve all of our gratitude every day, but I'm especially impressed by their professionalism and kindness, even in the face of their anxieties about their own future. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else for public comment tonight? Please.
Hello, and thank you. I totally I'm not jealous of the place that you're in, and I know that we're all here for all of our kids. We're here for our community. We're here to make Bangor a place that people want to stay, if not at least come back to. There's nothing more personal than making decisions for our kids. When those decisions feel forced upon us, it is difficult. I'm Jody McDonald, and I'm a resident of Bangor. I don't know if I said that because I'm in nervous mode. I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
It's okay. Thank you.
When decisions feel forced upon us, it is difficult. And we are here to promote kids who deserve all of our best regardless as a community of Bangor instead of street address, because we all do bleed Bangor red. We can't expect academic excellence for blue ribbon students in current structures and facilities. Bangor cannot continue as it is, and our kids do deserve equal access to what our schools proudly claim. I spent the last several weeks looking at released data on the NWEA and NAEP testing to compare the proficiency of Bangor schools with the state and our nation. I have a lot of data points that don't argue. Bangor scores in general are falling since the pandemic, but our vulnerable students are drowning. Students who need additional behavioral or academic resources from schools like 14th Street are sent to other schools like Vine Street. Students who have required additional interventions from Mary Snow have been typically sent to Fairmount. On one hand, I love that they get more support, the support that they need in those schools, but it also skews how both communities perceive themselves. It makes one group less heterogeneous. It overloads another school instead of assuring all children are equally served, no matter which school they're at. It makes it appear that one school is better than another. Our kids are separated, and students with the higher needs are essentially segregated. And as we know from our own history, separate is inherently unequal. It's been a decades-long chasm of inequity for our blue ribbon students, and we're uncomfortably forced to immediately make changes. And now is the time to deal with the elephant in the room. For these reasons and others, I am in support of consolidating our students much earlier than when they're 14 years old. I'm in support of the decision to consolidate classmates. I'm sure you can come that up. I empathize with the chaos that I know this causes. The heartbreak is recognizable. The upheaval that will happen to families, taxpayers, everybody. We're asking it of our entire community to act together. At least with a new plan, if we had consolidation, that would solve. Sorry, this is where I ended up not editing after 4 hours. I really started panicking, but you get the general gist. I love kids' access to education, amazing teachers, amazing peers, and not being pigeonholed. I love students having access to everything. Okay, bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have anybody else for public comment tonight? All right. Thank you so much for that engagement. Moving on to informational items. We have a presentation tonight from the Boys and Girls Club of Bangor. Superintendent Robinson.
Yes, thank you. CEO Catherine Myatt will present to the school committee information regarding the Boys and Girls Club of Bangor. Thank you.
I'm not sure.
There's an option when you drop that. Thank you. Sorry, guys.
And you don't need to apologize.
I appreciate those who are staying in the room for my presentation. And if I've what? You have been part of the school department. Oh, I have not been part of the school department before. And yes, this is something new. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay. Thank you. Just need. Is this mouse really moving? Yes. That was helpful. It would be more helpful if that little screen wasn't right in front of the button.
Can you click on it and move it?
Oh, I can do that. Okay. Sorry.
There you go.
Okay, guys, we've got this. We have this. Oops, I'm gonna move it even further so I can choose this one. Okay, thank you. Good evening, school committee members, Superintendent Robinson, district leadership, and Bangor families. Thank you for having me here tonight. My name is Kat Myatt, and I'm the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Bangor. And it is my privilege to be here with all of you talking about our work and the role we play in supporting Bangor's young people during the out-of-school time, including our mission and purpose, our student impact, and our partnerships and alignment. The Boys and Girls Club is located in the city's public housing neighborhood known as Capehart, home to just over 500 households with 800 children and teens living among them. To understand why our work matters, it's important to understand the context many of our families are living in. We serve youth from across the city and neighboring towns. However, our location as a key partner in the Bangor Housing's Opportunity Center uniquely positions us to reach young people who need us most, those whose families face ongoing stress, limited resources, and barriers to opportunity. Over 80% of the families we serve live below 200% of the federal poverty level. 81% of our households have a female head of household, and 68% of those 410 households is a single mom with children. Before the club was established, many young people in this neighborhood had little or no access to safe, engaging spaces like these after school, or to the kinds of supportive adult relationships that would help them thrive. Our mission is simple: to help young people reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens. The Boys and Girls Club of Bangor was founded in 2014 because too many young people were growing up believing there was no way up or out, believing that opportunity just wasn't meant for them. And I was one of those young people growing up in Capehart. Many of the youth we serve face challenges no child should have to navigate alone, including generational poverty, transportation barriers, limited access to basic needs, including food insecurity, and home stressors that make long-term planning feel out of reach. In recent years, youth needs have become even more complex, with significantly more youth experiencing anxiety, dysregulation, and emotional needs. We see, and I know you see, students coming to school and to club feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, anxious, and sometimes unsafe. Some of those students struggle with attendance. Some struggle with focus or behavior. What they need is what every child needs: safety, stability, belonging, and adults that they can depend on. And that's exactly what the Boys and Girls Club provides. The club offers free after-school teen and summer programs for youth in grades K through 12. And we keep our programs free because it's essential for the majority of the families that we serve. We also provide transportation, ensuring that no child is excluded simply because they can't get to us. And just as important, we provide nutritious meals
including a breakfast and lunch during our summer program and an after-school meal during the school year so that every young person has the nourishment they need to learn. Every afternoon, students are transported directly from school to the club. When they arrive, they receive a meal, and then they move into a predictable routine that includes homework time, enrichment activities, and opportunities to play, socialize, and decompress. In our after-school program, youth receive daily academic support through a program called Power Hour, along with STEM, art, and hands-on enrichment activities that spark creativity and curiosity. They stay active and build healthy habits through triple play. And throughout the day, they're surrounded by caring, consistent adults who provide guidance and structure. One of the biggest shifts, as I mentioned, we've seen in recent years is the level of social, emotional, and behavioral needs that students are bringing with them. We operate from a trauma-informed approach. We understand that behavior is communication. Our staff focus on teaching regulation and not enforcing compliance. We have calm down corners in every classroom, as well as a dedicated wellness zone that students can go to when they need to step away. We also have, for the past year, have employed a behavior wellness specialist who works directly with students and supports staff in responding consistently and compassionately. And lastly, over the past year, we've partnered with Sweetser to provide on-site mental health counseling for our students, meeting them where they feel comfortable rather than expecting families to navigate complicated referral systems on their own. For our teens, the club becomes a place to grow, lead, and discover what's possible. In our teen center, young people set goals, practice leadership, and learn to make healthy decisions. Our work-based learning program takes that a step further, blending pre-employment training with hands-on practice and paid work experience, helping teens build confidence and essential workplace skills. We offer a new cohort of this program every quarter of the school year, as well as during the summer months, to youth entering grades 9 through 12. And we've had participants from Bangor High School, John Baptist, Old Town High School, Orono High School, Herman High School, and probably more that I'm not thinking of. Because the program meets kids where they are, provides hands-on learning while having fun, while getting paid. During the summer months, the club shifts to summer programming, full-day summer programming. As you well know, summer is a time when families often lose access to school meals and structured care. It's also when learning loss can occur, especially for students who don't have a lot of enrichment activities. But not at club. Our summer program provides stability, continued learning, and social connection with a special focus on math and literacy. We have a certified teacher who spends 45 minutes on each subject with each age group, implementing leveled literacy intervention, as well as a program that we purchased called Mango Math for each of our age groups. Learning also happens beyond our walls. Through field trips, our youth have the opportunity to experience new environments, explore different communities, and engage with the world around them, including visits, which we all love, to Maine's beautiful state parks. We also have a successful full-day summer program for middle schoolers, keeping them engaged, learning, and active all summer long, and supporting their transition from 5th into 6th grade. One of our best attended programs. Throughout the year, we also support families through parent engagement workshops. We have a food pantry, and we offer basic needs resources. Like we do a backpack drive every year, a winter gear drive. We do an annual holiday toy giveaway. But most important, of course, is we provide free childcare for school-age children, ensuring caregivers can work or attend class with peace of mind, because we know when families thrive, kids thrive. Which leads me to tell you about our 2-generation program in partnership with Bangor Housing that we call Moving Families Forward. This model intentionally supports both children and their caregivers by addressing education, stability, and well-being together rather than in isolation. Moving Families Forward supports both kids and parents by focusing on 6 key areas that strengthen the whole family. Over the past 12 months, this program has served 188 families. 72 of those families have increased their income in the past year, with an average dollar increase in household income of $19,120. 28 families graduated from the program in the past year, and the average escrow or savings check for those 28 graduates was $9,927. Pretty impressive. Speaking of impact, this past year, hundreds of youth walked through our doors, each with their own story and each with strengths waiting to be recognized. We served 245 young people with strong participation across all age groups. We served over 12,000 meals, and we witnessed measurable growth in academic engagement, along with stronger peer relationships and a deepened sense of belonging. Throughout the year, youth participated in activities connected to our 4 priority outcome areas. Those are academic success, healthy lifestyles, character and citizenship, and life and workforce readiness. And we saw powerful moments every day, whether it was a teen stepping into a leadership role for the first time, or a young person feeling genuinely seen on a difficult day. Those daily experiences translate into lasting outcomes that are captured in our annual member survey and include healthier decision-making, increased resilience, and long-term success in school and beyond. A key part of our success has been strong community partnerships, especially with Bangor Housing and the Bangor School Department, as well as other nonprofit organizations like Audubon, seen here with our little explorers, the Girl Scouts, seen here, the Y, the Coal Transportation Museum, Challenger Learning Center, Bangor Police Department, and the Lace Theater Company, to name a few. Working together, we're able to offer diverse experiences and access spaces across Bangor where youth feel welcome and inspired. Together, these partners expand the world of possibility for our kids and amplify our impact. One of the most important decisions we made in bringing programming to youth living in public housing was to align ourselves with the most well-known and respected youth-serving organization in the world, Boys and Girls Clubs of America. That decision allowed us to leverage national resources, training, and expertise that has strengthened our work every step of the way. Through this partnership, we've been able to implement high-quality, evidence-based programming, become a trauma-informed organization, and intentionally cultivate leadership, beginning with our teens. As a result of this success, the club has grown rapidly, from serving 24 kids with 4 staff in 2014 when we opened, to becoming an independent organization in 2020, to now operating out of our own beautiful clubhouse and reaching hundreds of kids annually. But the most meaningful outcomes aren't numeric. We see kids who feel safe, students who show up consistently, students who build positive relationships with peers and adults. We see young people who know they belong somewhere, and that sense of belonging they carry with them. After school hours, as everyone knows, can be one of the most stressful parts of the days for family. Parents are trying to work, and kids need supervision, food, help with homework, and most importantly, a safe place to be. When those needs aren't fully met, the impact doesn't stay at home. It shows up the very next morning at school. The barriers students experience outside of school follow them into the classroom as well, affecting focus, behavior, and readiness to learn. That's where after-school programs like ours come in. We exist to absorb some of that pressure, especially during the hours when students are most vulnerable. When school is out, club is in. For older youth, the club is also a place to build leadership, independence, and future plans, something we saw clearly with our 6 graduating seniors this year. Because the students we serve are your students, alignment matters. Our impact is strongest when we share goals, reinforce expectations, and work together. Like schools, we're seeing rising demands across the board. For example, we have 62 children currently on our summer wait list, which is a record high. Families are relying on us not just for enrichment, but for stability and for care. That's why strong partnerships matter now more than ever. Looking ahead, our focus is on sustainability, keeping programs accessible, meeting evolving needs, and deepening collaboration with schools and also with families. Our shared goal is simple, ensuring that every child in Bangor has the support they need, not just during the school day, but beyond it. So I want to thank you for your time, your leadership, and your commitment to Bangor's students. And I greatly appreciate the opportunity for the first time in however many years that we've been open to share our work with you tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and I invite you all to come tour the club.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. And before I ask my colleagues if they have questions, I want to say thank you so much for that wonderful presentation, and a thank you to you and your staff and the educators at the Boys and Girls Club for all you're doing for our kids. You're an important part of the story of success here in Bangor in our schools. So thank you.
Thank you.
Member Cook?
I have two questions. The first is pretty simple. Do you receive federal funding for this program?
We do receive some federal funding.
Okay, and is it in jeopardy at all, or has it been? Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry to hear that. And then secondly, this is more of a question for Dr. Robinson, but I'm wondering if with this partnership, do we have an awareness of the students who attend the program?
Yes, we do at the school level.
So I'm wondering if it would be possible to look at, when we're tracking attendance and chronic absenteeism rates, if we could look at data to understand if a student is participating in this program, if it has an impact on chronic absenteeism, so that we could really use that to lift up this program to show that it does positively impact attendance.
We can definitely look into that. Yes, thank you.
What you're saying, but yeah.
Member Bryden, do you want to go ahead?
Thank you very much.
Please.
And truly, Kat, thank you so much for this presentation and all of the work that you do. The Opportunity Center is beautiful and magnificent. And I do feel like it's one of the best kept secrets in Bangor, right? In terms of actually understanding how many students are using this program, how many students could be using this program, and how we could really extend participation. I know in the past there had been overlap with the 21st Century Club and actually bringing boys and girls to the school, as opposed to the immense generosity you have in bringing the students to the club. Is there any future opportunities, or could you talk a little bit more about expanding the Boys and Girls Club outside of Down East, and what that might look like in terms of bringing some of that programming directly to the students that need it on their campus?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Because building the Opportunity Center was to expand our footprint and to be able to serve more kids. We did double the number of kids we were serving that year, and then we outgrew our space.
Yeah.
We have had summers where we did half of our summer program in Down East School and utilized teachers in the school. We are constantly, working on creative solutions to being able to fit more kids within our building. And one of those was to apply for a 21st Century Learning Grant. This round, we have not heard back from it yet. It is also on the chopping block with the current budget. So we might hear that we got the grant and then hear that there's no funding to put in. But that would allow us to serve, if we did get that funding, it would allow us to serve kids in the middle school. And that would allow us to create more space for our elementary school classrooms. We did do a survey of our students and families to make sure they were okay with that, because it would be kids staying at school after school. But it's like I've heard other people say tonight, it's the staff, it's the experiences, it's not the space. So that would allow us to fit more youth in the building. We're also going to be getting a tiny bit more space within the next
12 months that we'll be able to expand and add an additional classroom as well. And we're going to be spending some time at Husson University in their esports facility. So all of these, partnerships that we have and creative ways of looking at different grants, but we're always open to hearing any other ideas or any ways that we can expand our footprint, because we don't want to just be on the west side of Bangor. We don't want to just be serving Down East, Fairmount, Doughty, and Bangor high school students. And actually, we do have kids from other parts of Bangor, but like you said, it's a secret that not everybody knows about, and we don't advertise it because we're filled.
I know.
Our-
Yeah, it's the double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kat.
Yeah.
Member Speed.
Thank you so much for this presentation. We're incredibly fortunate to have your organization in Bangor. I just wanted to highlight some of the things that I heard and I really appreciated, which was your emphasis on kids coming to your space and feeling safe, having that stability, that sense of belonging, and having access to those mentors. You can see it in the pictures. It's wonderful to see our students, becoming those mentors after possibly being mentored. So that's wonderful. I also appreciate what you said about emphasizing regulation, not compliance. So thank you for that. And hands-on learning. It's a wonderful way to learn, and I'm really pleased to hear that that's happening. The wait list of 62 folks on the summer program is, it's on one hand a great thing for your program to have, that demand, but it's also alarming as well to those families that don't get that access. And I just wanted to again thank you for all that you do, but I also wanted to give you the opportunity to ask you, how can we help you? You help us in so many ways. How can we help you?
I think Member Cook had a really great idea. One of the things that we're doing is we are going to be hiring a part-time data specialist this school year, because it's very hard for us to, leverage funding, find funding, secure funding without being able to do a good job telling the story of the work that we're doing. We are working with one of our private foundations that does support our work quite a bit to kind of identify what some of those areas could be that we could be measuring. But it is very difficult to access. For example, right now we have our summer teacher coming in during our after school hours to pre-test our kids that are going to be in the summer program, because we want to do a pre-math test and a pre-literacy test. And doing that for all of the kids could take the first 2 weeks of the summer program. We have asked the school to share records with us. We need reading levels and we need maths, local math scores. And we obviously run into some hesitation when it comes to data sharing. We've tried to work out an MOU data sharing agreement, and we also do get releases from all of our families, but you still need that person on the ground that's willing to do that work. And we don't have that. So that's something that we could use. It would help us to write grants. It would help us to even get, maybe individual donors, corporate donors, people that are interested in supporting us.
Thank you. I appreciate that input.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Member Speed. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to superintendent's update. Superintendent Robinson?
Thank you. Just starting off with some overarching items in terms of schools and programs. Just a reminder that graduation is June 6th, which is a Saturday this year at 4 p.m. at the Cross Center. We have lots of end-of-year activities being planned. Just attended the spring concert at the high school last evening, which was amazing. So many talented students performing. And then upcoming many award ceremonies we're looking forward to. We are expanding our composting program to align with legislative requirements. We have a wonderful student instructional video on how to take your lunch items and compost those that will be shared so that we can spread that information to other schools. So we're looking at, in terms of the reorganization, developing a timeline for the next steps. And I just want to really reiterate the desire of the school department to maintain the collaboration and transparency that everyone is desiring. And I think that when we get back to our focus on the strategic listening sessions and the strategic planning that was started last year in an effort to avoid, unfortunately, what we're doing right now. So I just want to reiterate that desire for a collaborative process. We are continuing with looking at the analysis of those listening sessions, and that will be presented also at our next meeting on the 28th. And that is, our hope is to continue to have an informed process for those long-term decisions. We are expanding, like I mentioned, looking again at some options that initially didn't seem possible, trying to bring that creative lens, understanding deeply that the Fairmount community values their school, which is amazing and wonderful. And I don't want that to get lost in this, no more than anyone else does. But it does come down to safety at this point. So we are, I think Member Sprague mentioned, this is our reality right now. And I am hoping that we can all move forward together and come up with a solution that is going to work. Again, we have to gather the details, which we are in process of. We are currently working with Dunbar and Braun, the contractor, to come in and assess Fairmount as soon as possible. So that's some new information. And this information it's rapidly happening. So it's frustrating that it can't come out as quickly as I'd like it to. But this is a process. So any of the options, barring, any of them require research and time and hours of our staff. So I'm trying to ensure that the information I have is accurate before communicating it outward, because I do believe that that would create even more confusion. So I do apologize if it appears as though things are not being communicated. That is certainly not the intent. The intent is to ensure it's accurate, that it can be relied on. And again, we're revisiting, we're expanding. I'm checking in, I'm awaiting calls from commercial realtors, looking at other spaces in the community, and again, re-examining our facilities to determine if another option is possible. So that's kind of the update. And just in terms of the reasoning around Fairmount, and I'll reiterate this again. This is likened to any old home, any old building that has had deferred maintenance, and suddenly something happens. That's what's happening at Fairmount. Yeah, could we roll the dice and put 300 people in a building? I wouldn't, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. So when we have unexpected roof leaks, we discover unexpected things in that ceiling, my thought goes to the winter of 26. And what if leaks occur again? I don't think that's a safe environment for students. I certainly would not want to have to do this process in the middle of the winter or next spring, when we may only have a 2 to 4 week window to evacuate every person and possibly lose a lot in the process. So I know it seems sudden. It's unfortunate that things hadn't been addressed in the past 8 to 10 years, but this is where we are. And I can assure you that everyone is working diligently to ensure that this plan is something that will work. Again, I echo Member Surratt's message of safety. We are looking out for the safety. And yes, a building can be patched up for a 2 to 3 month period of time, and that's what we've done. But to roll the dice for another 12 months, I'm not sure that's the position that we want to put our children or our staff in. So I understand completely the frustration, the concern, and all of the emotions tied in with this difficult process. And I do believe we're going to get through this together. And I want to thank the staff that have reached out, and they recognize the hard work and the families. I've gotten many positive comments of, this is hard and we're behind you. And we want to work together to find a common solution for everyone. And that's what we're trying to do. So that's really, at this point, the most up-to-date information. We're examining other options. We're looking into all those details. And again, that takes time. We have to examine schedules. We have to look at feasibility of the logistics, all of the things that have been discussed and mentioned by our parents and families. Those are the things that are being looked into. And I understand the frustration of not having minute-by-minute communication. It's unfortunately not possible. Because the other piece that I think we have to keep in mind is that the day-to-day runnings of the school are still occurring. And everyone has a day-to-day job that they are doing in addition to this layered on challenge that we are all facing together. So again, I understand the frustration. I'm happy to answer any particular questions to the best of my ability at this point, but that's where we are as a school department. Sure.
Member Bryden.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I do appreciate the opportunity to pivot and recognize that there are still things that are coming in, that we're seeing every single day. It's clearly a very personal situation. And I know that thank you very much for coming here tonight to speak and to share. Thank you very much for pausing and listening. I think that these are all really important things that we're just demonstrating the adaptability and humanity behind how this works.
Absolutely.
I think that a lot of great ideas have come from the community because there are people that went themselves as a 10-year-old to
Absolutely.
Fairmount.
Absolutely.
And have that historical knowledge. And so I think that's why having these listening sessions is going to be so critical. My questions for those are, while I appreciate the opportunity to be in small groups so that people are actually able to share and communicate, I want to ensure that there's, I guess, even for myself, a clear understanding that this is going to be an opportunity for families to share their best practices, their ideas, what they have come up with. One, can you confirm that in terms of that's what we'll be doing? Because it is a really short window and I'm anxious about that.
Sorry.
An hour.
Oh, yes.
And then also for folks that are not able to attend, how can we get that information out to them to be able to say, this is what was shared, this is what was discussed? I mean, I know we're anti-AI in some of us, but there are some really great apps that can capture that data and get it out in real time so there isn't the delay. If we can be creative too in how we can actually make sure that if you're not able to attend the listening session, I think that people have done a great job sharing their ideas via email. I encourage that to continue so that we have a full list. But afterwards, on May 19th, you're right. People have to go back to their, real jobs and take time away. How can we get that information out?
Sure. And I think those are things that we're still trying to finalize at this point, because it is, I do want to capture that. And that is why the idea to organize the collection of that data and have breakout rooms. While I know that it's a short window, it also is something that now we've had some time to think about and consider. And many people are bringing a lot of those ideas and things together. So the idea is to have those breakout sessions, come back and still finalizing the details, but gather that data and share it out through themes, through specifics as much as we can and as quickly as we can. And that's why I am happy that we are at this point, despite I know that it's challenging for staff to have this unknown for another 2 weeks, I do feel that this delay is necessary because we do have so many wonderful ideas coming through that we just want to make sure everything is solidified before making this vote. So I do want to reiterate that. And I'm having the May 18th, which is just coming up on Monday, still provides us with a little bit of time before the vote needs to occur. So that turnaround time, we will be working diligently to gather that information and share that out.
Do you envision, thank you very much for that. Do you envision having a clear gathering of all of the data and that information and that feedback in a way that is clear what the direction might be prior to the vote?
That's my hope. Absolutely. Yes. I'd like it not to happen, too close to the vote. I'd like to do a similar, announcement in advance so that, and we could even do options. I mean, I'm happy to present multiple options that can be discussed and then voted on.
Yeah, I think that, while I appreciate all of the options going out and all of that information that was coming back in real time that said, actually, this is not on the table anymore, that was helpful to at least have that information, even though the timing was unfortunate in terms of, I already voted on that. Now I'm getting these numbers. If we can have, and I know this is your intention, I just want to say out loud, a clear opportunity to ensure that all of that information is collected so that when we do vote, it's, all the questions that we got before this vote, if we were to vote tonight, that were not answered, just ensuring that we have all of those questions answered and out and as clear as possible. And I appreciate you working on that. And I appreciate all of the staff working on that. And again, to everyone that continues to share their really creative ideas. I just
Absolutely.
wish we could fit in the Opportunity Center, Kat, if you could work on that for us. So that would solve all our problems. Thank you.
Member Sprague.
I think Member Cook had her hand up first. I'll defer to you. unless you want me to.
Member Cook.
Thank you, Member Sprague. Dr. Robinson, some of the comments that we've received through email and some of the comments tonight, I think there needs to be some clarity on sort of where we are in the budget process. Some people have kind of indicated, there's no line item to fix Fairmount or to kind of deal with this crisis. And just last week, we had already voted on the budget, over a month ago to, move it forward. And council had said, even though we're under 5%, like, what can you cut? What would you choose to cut? And so I'm hopeful that for the people here tonight and maybe for the people watching, you could kind of explain why there's nothing in the budget based on sort of this crisis situation that we're at.
There isn't nothing in the budget. There's capital improvements for every single school. And one thing that I will reiterate is that our school budget and every school budget has contingencies factored in there. So there is not a specific line that says Fairmount reorganization or those specific items. We had already allocated for a roof project, so that is in the budget. There is funding in the budget. Depending upon what we find, working with the contractor, and once we get the specific estimates, that will be another conversation. It may exceed what is currently in our budget, and that will be something that will have to be determined in terms of next steps or possibilities of how we'd like to proceed.
Thank you.
I'm just going to ask a quick one. So there's clearly tonight, several people mentioned this concern about this plan not truly being temporary. And every conversation we've had, and my understanding is that this is a temporary reorganizational plan for the 2026, 2027 school year. And we're going to, 2027, 2028 could be different, is going to look different. Am I understanding that correctly? And can you communicate that?
Absolutely. This is something that is temporary so that we can assess and determine the next steps of how we're going to proceed with repairs. And again, I don't have the specific estimates yet. So I can't make that decision. That will come once we have that information, and it will be a proposal to the council, or to the school committee. Any kind of long-term decisions is a statute that has to be followed through the Maine Department of Ed in terms of a full long-term closure. That's a lengthier process that goes through things that I'm still looking into right now. So yes, this is a temporary reorganization so that we can determine what our next steps are. And the aim is to wrap everything up in 1 year, make the changes if desired to Fairmount, and then proceed for the following year as we have.
Thank you. Member Sprague.
Thank you. I do want to say that when you came in to be the superintendent, you didn't sign up for this. And this is part of having old buildings, but I know it's been hard on you. I know it, and the staff. We should have had a facilities committee going back 10 years ago, and we all have a piece of ownership in that we haven't. But I want to say publicly, I think I have to, I feel compelled to, that I don't feel like the communications have been sufficient on this. I think it should be 10x what we've done. We should have FAQs up on our website now with every question we could possibly anticipate. There's people working on this are like further along in thinking about it because you have to be, you had your head down working on it. But people are like 5 miles back on, is it safe to be in Fairmount right now? And why is it safe now and not in the fall? People don't understand that foundational question. So I want next week and maybe in the listening sessions to get clear answers for that. Like, why is it that Fairmount is not, it can't be used next year? Who decided? When did they decide? What are the costs if we want to rehab Fairmount? What does that look like? What is the timeline? Because people are still trying to like understand what the impact of the asbestos might be on their kids. And like, that's just baseline communications that we should have out there, and we don't anywhere. So I want us to have the mindset of, I want parents to be so sick of us communicating that they are mad at us for overly communicating, because I think we should be in their inboxes every step of the way. I think we should have had an emergency meeting on this as soon as it was identified a long time ago. Well, no, I don't know. Is it 4 weeks ago? Is it 8 weeks ago? I don't know. But we should have had that meeting, and I think we could have built relationship with the community faster and gotten more buy-in sooner had we done that. So I want to reset now and just really commit ourselves to as abundant and transparent and clear communications as we can possibly have. And the last point I'll make, I don't think 1 hour on East Side and West Side on Monday is going to be enough for this. I think we have to budget more time. You can feel the energy in the room. The listening sessions have been publicized. I expect robust turnout. I will be at both myself for sure. I think other people will be too. But whoever said it earlier, this is absolutely the most important thing any of us will ever deal with in our terms here. This is a once in a generation moment issue for us to navigate. And I think that our communications has to reflect that that is how we see it.
Member,
Can I just say one thing?
Quick.
If we were to have another, I do agree that it's a short window of time. I just want to urge opportunities for folks to attend online. If they don't have the transportation, if they don't have the means to come to the school in person, their voice should matter just as much. So whatever that looks like,
Absolutely.
I think it's going to be a really important process. Thank you.
Thanks. Member O'Keefe?
Thank you. Just to piggyback off of what Member Sprague said, I'm just thinking, throwing ideas out there about starting a page, like a website, on the Bangor School Committee page, the Bangor website, a separate page just for information about this, information about, the OPOIT study, the, updates about the listening sessions, like up to date, information about ideas that we've considered that have been discarded, ideas that are on the table now, the presentation that Dr. Emerson was going to give today, and that's going to happen next week, like that slide deck, just things that people are just wondering, like, or maybe the asbestos, maybe even, a summary of why, Member Spread said, why, the urgency is now and why you can't do it over the summer and why, just explanation, things like that. So a parent is like, we've been in it, and I have a lot of questions that a lot of people have, but there's also a lot of questions that were answered months ago that I know a lot of parents weren't paying attention to, or for right reasons, that I feel like, oh, but they know, or the Oak Point Center study being one of them, that they don't know, or they don't remember, or they kind of vaguely, so just some place that they can just continuously go to for updates. I don't know. I also know that I understand that it's not as easy as just saying that, because somebody has to monitor it and someone has to update it. And there's the day activities of the school going on continuously. And there's not an HR department. There's not there's lots of things that multiple people have to do. But I would just suggest that. But I heard a lot of people today and in emails, you're talking about the lack of transparency and the lack of trust. And I would just like to give Dr. Robertson an opportunity to just say how she plans on restoring the trust to some of the parents who feel that there have been a broken feeling in that trust.
Sure. First, I just want to say we do have a dedicated web page right now on our website. Yes, and that was shared in.
Maybe, sorry, just to interrupt, maybe that in and of itself is a problem, because there is a dedicated page, but a lot of parents, me included, don't know that or don't visit it. And the problem is with me, I know all this information, so I don't go seeking it out. But a lot of parents don't know that this exists, and even just publicizing that, the fact that that's there. And I've had this conversation with you before. You tell them what you're going to tell them, you tell them, and you tell them what you told them. So you just have to keep hounding it, even though you said it already and it's already been said. You just got to keep putting it out there, because a lot of people are listening here, not listening there. And I'll leave it at that.
We can send that out again. And the aim is, really looking at that longer term strategic planning process and the shifts that we've made right now. I feel as though this is being responsive to the community. Again, we have a longer term facilities discussion to have. As I think was noted, I did just arrive last year, and 2 years ago, I knew nothing about Fairmount. I am looking to do what is in the best interest of this school department and this community, and that's what I signed up for. I take this job very seriously, and I do plan on working through the challenges. It's unfortunate the way that this has transpired, but again, going back to that open transparency, I feel as though we have broadened our partnerships, expanded beyond what the school department has done historically in terms of communication, in terms of monthly newsletters. Those will continue. In terms of the reports that I provide at each of our school committee meetings. So those will continue. And I'm hopeful that we can get through this and folks will realize that there is no aim or no attempt to circumvent anything. It's the idea to make sure we're prepared to have a safe environment for the fall.
Member Speed, please.
Yeah, I want to start and thank Superintendent Robinson for her efforts on this. I know that there's a lot going on, and I appreciate the work that you're putting into it. The administrators, the folks in our school, our teachers, and the community members that are putting forth incredible ideas. And I have all faith that those ideas will keep coming. And I have all faith that, on Monday, there may be another idea out there. So I think to echo Member Sprague's sentiment about over communicating, I completely agree. And Member O'Keefe about having a page that is the single source of truth. I hope tonight we can have a lot of answers, to questions that community members have, and then they can be on that page. I was really encouraged to hear that you and Director Finney are collecting the questions, all the questions that are coming in, and there's a lot coming in. So to have the time to sift through those thoughtfully and then to put them into an FAQ, I think is a wonderful idea. So thank you for that.
Mhm.
Going through this process, just like the folks that are here tonight and the parents, we are parents too, and we're thinking about this process as well and what the best decision will be. It is a short-term reorganization, but there are options that will have long-term effects for generations, decades, in fact, to come. So, there are options that will be incredibly difficult to untangle next year if we select. There's an option that this year's fourth grader might have a new school next year as a fifth grader. And then if untangled, would have a new school as a sixth grader. I think that for me, coming tonight, I really appreciate your listening and hearing the concerns of the community, but also the committee, and taking a pause and really thinking this through and allowing the parents to comment on the 18th and gather more input. What my hope was with the survey was that the survey would help us make the decision tonight so that we could move forward. However, the information that we have from the survey, regardless of whether you are comfortable with consolidating grades at an earlier level from 4 through 8, or finding a temporary option that is truly available to give us time to think for a year deeper about what that citywide consolidation looks like, whether a lease or not. And so when the survey results came out that we didn't have lease, and I know you looked, and the team looked exhaustively at options, which I commend you for. And I felt coming into tonight, it would have been difficult for me to make a vote based off of the information that I have, the data that I have, regardless of which choice I selected, because I did take the survey. The evidence wasn't necessarily adding up to the choice or the choices, and I felt like I needed more information, and I needed to feel like that essential question of is the city ready to consolidate at younger ages, grade 4 through 8? Or does the community really value the community schools, the ability to bike and walk to their school and to keep kids together within their neighborhoods? And so that evidence wasn't necessarily there for me yet. And I have confidence over the next 2 weeks that we have to take whatever evidence we have to make the decision, because we have to make a decision as soon as we can. But I just want to reiterate that it's important that we are fast, but we are right? And I want to emphasize that we get out information as fast as we can, and I trust that you are, and that your staff is working tirelessly to do so. But it's also important to have that accuracy, as you mentioned. I think that's really, really to be commended. But here's my question. I know that was long-winded, but here's my question. Of the survey, without dollar figures attached to it, I know a lot of folks wanted to have the ability to comment on the dollar figures attached to it, but it was actually really helpful to answer that essential question of whether folks have an interest in consolidating citywide or to maintain their neighborhood schools as much as possible. Options 1, 2, and 4 actually gave choices that included citywide consolidation at some grade level. 75% of respondents chose options 1, 2, and 4. Options 3 and 5, 25% of respondents chose options that actually included, I'm sorry, do I have that backwards? Yes, thank you. Options 3 and 5, 25% of respondents chose options that were citywide consolidation. Thank you for allowing me to correct myself. Options 1, 2, and 4, 75% of respondents chose options in the reverse to keep their neighborhood schools. I just wondered if you could, and I know you've been here for just under 2 years, but what does that data tell you? Like, what does that tell us?
I think that's a result of why we're pausing right now. That's what we're paying attention to very closely, because again, I haven't been here for that long. So, I'm relying on the team, I'm relying on the community, and we're pausing to reevaluate everything based on that information that we've received.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Member Cook?
I am assuming there's been conversations and communication with the union. However, if there hasn't already been a survey of the Fairmount staff and listening sessions with the Fairmount staff, I would like to ask or request that that be something that we add to this, because I think their feedback and their opinions are very important in sort of how we proceed. And I think it's important for the committee to consider that in any decisions that we make.
Thank you, Member Cook. Any other questions at this point in the superintendent's update? Member Speed?
Yeah, so I was wondering about facilities committee, the suggestions. A lot of folks have been wondering, who is on the team. And I'm sure it's a wonderful team of very gifted and dedicated folks. But can that committee include parents, students, staff, engineers, others who can be a part of that process, can be in the room at the table to explore these options? Or is that something that could be considered moving forward?
It's 100% the plan moving forward. The facilities committee, I've had a facilities committee at a previous role, and that included members of all of the stakeholder groups that you just mentioned: student, staff, community members, those that have the facility knowledge, engineers and such. We're actually exploring opportunities with some companies that can come in and help to support this process, to make sure that all of the accurate information is shared in a way that everyone can understand and can make the best decisions moving forward. I'll just go back to, again, that original timeline, which has been disrupted through this unfortunate situation. But on May 28th, we are going to have a presentation of our draft analysis of the listening sessions that included all of those stakeholder groups that you mentioned in terms of supporting the process of refining and revising our strategic plan, and facilities being a component of that. So next steps beyond that, absolutely, to answer your question.
I have more questions unless anybody else.
Just go ahead and ask your question.
Great.
Yeah.
So I think that's wonderful, because having folks at the table is really important. And you mentioned the strategic listening and strategic planning. I think that's really wonderful timing, actually, to hear that. And I would suggest we hear that before we go take this to a vote, so that we can really listen
It
to
will
that
be, yeah.
and listen to those listening sessions. As I mentioned before, my goals are safety, educational opportunities, community input, minimum disruption, and whether it's attainable. Like all of the options that are being presented, including option 3, which a lot of folks have given us their feedback on. Are these options attainable? And my second part of the question is, do we all agree on those goals, or are there other goals that the committee has that I haven't heard of?
Member Sprague?
Can I just jump in? I think we are exhausting the subject tonight, and this is worth its own conversation next week. That I'm like 100% with you, by the way, and I don't mean to be undercutting it, but I just feel the room is restless a little bit. It's a school night. I think that maybe we could take some of this offline, but like the questions are worthy that we should anticipate people bringing Monday night and then the following Wednesday.
Member Speed, are you willing to bring those to?
Are you suggesting a workshop that we could actually make sure we're on the same page with the same way to measure how this decision is going to be made?
Yeah, I mean, I would have a series of workshops if we need to. Again, it's the most important thing we're going to deal with. So I'm not totally comfortable with just waiting to 2 weeks out. I think we need many check-in points between now and then. I didn't mean to cut you off either, but sorry.
I do just want to reiterate that
Please.
I think it would be, sorry, I'm not.
No, please go ahead.
Yeah. And again, because transparency is so important, I want to be very clear that taking it offline will not mean that these conversations will continue to happen in a vacuum, but that we can be having these conversations in places where we can get direct answers, because I do feel like you've been very communicative when I ask you direct questions and give me direct information. And I think this opportunity is really important. And I know that you're obviously getting that information out as quickly as you can. So having this opportunity to really understand the numbers and look at this, I think it would be important to do this at the, like I said, at the very least streamed or allowing folks to
It is gonna
participate in a meaningful way. If we have workshops, I mean, just
Mhm.
making sure that that is as
Absolutely.
accessible as possible, because I do think that workshops are going to be incredibly important to making sure that we all have all the information and that we've been clear on the information. I basically don't want to get to the 28th and be like, oh, I wonder how they're going to vote. Like, I really want to be really clear, like, this is what makes the most sense for all of these reasons. And collectively, we see it's in the best interest of all of our students. I know that is what everybody is working on. That's what everybody wants. I just think that being able to make it as clear as humanly possible that that is what's happening and that's how we got to that point is going to be really helpful. So
Absolutely.
thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Member Bratton. Are we ready to move forward?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I appreciate Member Sprague. He reads the room much better than I do. Seriously, he does. So I appreciate that. I want to make sure that the 18th is full of solutions, conversation, two-way communication, and listening. Key listening. And I know that folks are getting tired. It's getting late, but I'd rather exhaust the questions tonight and get the answers we need so that that 18th listening session is as productive as possible. If not, then perhaps a workshop beforehand that can exhaust all of those questions, such as some things that have been brought up tonight, some things in public comment that haven't been answered. The why and where we are and what we know and what we don't know. So I think that's important. And then lastly, I hope that we can come together on the 28th and have two options. I like your suggestion, Superintendent Robinson, to have two options. And it's okay if they're opposing options, but to have two good options is the goal.
Thank you, Member Speed. Superintendent Robinson, you would continue with your report.
Sure. So I am pleased to announce, and this is coming up in a little bit in our agenda, that we do have a new director for our regional program. Our budget process continues. The city presentation was last week. The vote will be in June. Our CDS transition is happening right now. We've been interviewing for an assistant director to support this this transition. And the cell phone policy changes will be in effect August 1st, and that's being worked through our policy committee. And then for the region and state, we are in the process of compiling our end of year DOE reporting.
Okay, very good. Moving on to report of reassignments. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm reporting the following reassignments for the 26-27 school year. Barbara Cluley from grade 1, teacher at Down East School, to grade 2, teacher at Down East School. Garrett Johnson from physical education teacher at Fruit Street School to physical education teacher at Bangor High School. Jenna Caller from art teacher at Fairmount to 14th Street Schools to art teacher at Bangor High School. Renee Perrone from social worker .8 William S. Cohen School and .2 Mary Snow School to social worker at William S. Cohen School.
Great, thank you. And now we have report of resignations. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm reporting the following resignations for the 26-27 school year. Jacob Clark, grade 1 teacher, Vine Street School. Maria Glidden, occupational therapist, district-wide. Anne Marie Roberts, special education teacher, William S. Cohen School. Robert Young, assistant girls soccer coach, Bangor High School. Jason Smith, JV boys basketball coach, Bangor High School. Donald Erb, JV girls basketball coach, Bangor High School.
Thank you. And now we're moving to business action items. We have some minutes. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm recommending approval of the draft minutes of the April 29th, 2026 regular school committee meeting.
I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
7-0, thank you.
And next, we have a financial report. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm recommending approval of the bids and quotation report for May of 2026.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
7-0, thank you.
All right, moving to personnel. Looks like we don't have any administrator nominations. We do
No,
have
Have
teacher.
one administrator.
Oh, we do have an administrator nomination. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm recommending the following administrator nomination for the 2026-2027 school year with a 1-year probationary contract. Jenny Hudner as the director of the Bangor Regional Program.
Great. Have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
7-0, thank you. And Jenny is here this evening, so thank you and welcome aboard.
Welcome, and thanks for joining us tonight. Moving to teacher nominations. We have new teachers for 2026-2027 school year. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm recommending the following teacher nominations for the 26-27 school year with a 1-year probationary contract. Colin Graybert, choral and music teacher at the Bangor High School.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
7-0, thank you.
All right, donations. What do we have for donations tonight? Member Sprague.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To James F. Dowdy School from the DMT Fund, a cash donation to support students having a total dollar value of $200. Make a motion to accept with gratitude.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you very much. Moving to second reading of revised policies. Are we agreeable to take them together?
Yes, we are.
No. Member Speed, you want to pull? Yep, you want to pull one out, Member Speed?
No, I'd like to pull out the cell phone policy separately than the others, please.
Well, this is for the second reading. We're
Oh,
doing the second
sorry.
readings right now. Yep,
For the second reading, I am not opposed.
not opposed. Okay. Superintendent Robinson.
I'm recommending approval of the second reading of revised policies, revised policy IGD, co-curricular and interscholastic programs, revised policy IGDH, academic contests for students, revised policy IHBEA, program for multilingual learners.
I have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Member Speed.
I want to thank Dr. Harris Smedberg and the policy committee. Thank you for your hard work on this, and thank you for inviting me to dig in a little bit more on policy IGD, co-curricular and interscholastic programs. Had a really nice conversation, and thank you for including me on that about my previous concerns about late arrivals home from these events, right? In the instance of folks getting home at 1 a.m. and the importance of communicating that ahead of time. Despite it being discouraging to participation and perhaps an equity issue, it's important to be mindful of it because students don't just go to school and play interscholastic programs, but they work. They work in the evenings, they work on the weekends as well. I was encouraged, though, by the language that was adjusted. So I appreciate that, particularly the language of that co-curricular, interscholastic, and school activities, including but not limited to rehearsals, practices, performances, games, and contests shall be scheduled within the following guidelines unless otherwise authorized by the superintendent of schools to meet unique circumstances. And I just wanted to have a brief discussion about what qualifies as a unique circumstance needing to be approved by the superintendent and what examples have arisen.
That hasn't been something that has occurred in my time here. I don't know if Dr. Harris Medberg, you can speak to that at all.
Could be extenuating circumstances, like there might be an overnight trip, that like some of these have gone in statewide, out-of-state competitions. It also could be something that a bus breaks down and then we have to make that adjustment, weather related. But if it were something that would require the superintendent's prior approval, it would be a special consideration. Like I said, the type of field trip or an experience, like when you have to also vote for like when they go to the, like what Teacher Hendricks is doing with the international travel and, but it would be a very, like, Dr. Robinson never said, she said, hasn't had any of these. And I don't know, Dr. Butler, if you have any of these experiences that are beyond that on a regular basis?
The mic's not on, I don't think. It's red up there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but I shared a little bit, it's exceedingly rare that we'd have, you know, I can't think of a time, and this policy's new, but I can't think of a time when we were heading into something that by design or plan or circumstance would have students get home that late. I do recall painfully times when circumstances, usually at a regional or a high level competition, dramatics was one, this was years ago. One year, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, we had a football game that, you know, our schedules changed quite a bit, recently with our games coming closer. But there was one instance where a set of factors, field readiness, I don't recall in particular, had students home after midnight. That was travel down the Portland area. I see very few instances, absent the prior approval, the nature of the things that Assistant Superintendent mentioned that would, require advance approval. We've started talking about the benefits now of a closer, of conference schedules for athletics, even reducing more so the possibility it'll be a super late night. Try to communicate timely, manage issues as they come up, and don't feel it will be a real issue moving forward. And I can corroborate. I don't think I've had a conversation along these lines out of necessity with the superintendent over the last couple of years, changing nature of schedules, et cetera. You know, we have made, I shared last time, last meeting, we've made decisions to forego certain types of experiences for kids, not because they're not quality, but because I didn't have confidence that a bad pattern of lack of consideration of how the travel would impact our kids in particular. We just decided that we would do things on a local level, school level that did their best to replace those activities. But even that one thing, and I don't want to mention it loud, I'm being a little obtuse. I don't want to denigrate an organization that does good things for kids. There was a period of time where there was one particular program that's important and valuable, just wasn't cutting it for us, and I pulled the plug. They've recently come back and gained confidence again that it's worth our time and our effort, that their effort to plan things that are efficient and well done matches, our goal of having kids be in efficient, fun things. So very limited, very few advanced approvals other than overnights, very few things that I foresee transgressing against the policy as outlined now.
Awesome. Thank you. That's really helpful. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Butler. All right, we ready to vote? All those in favor?
7-0, thank you.
All right, so for first reading of new and revised policies, why don't we take, Member Speed, you still want to pull out number 11. So let's take number 1 through 10 together and vote on those, and then we'll take number 11 separately.
Sure.
Superintendent Robinson?
I'm recommending approval of the first reading of new and revised policies, new policy BID, school committee member compensation and expenses, revised policy GDB 5, lunch aid compensation guide, revised policy GDB 6, executive office compensation guide, Revised policy GDB 7, support staff compensation guide. Revised policy GDB 8, adult and community education compensation guide. Revised policy GDB 9, supplemental compensation guide. Revised policy GDB 10, technology compensation guide. Revised policy IHBAA, referral, pre-referral of students with disabilities. Revised policy IHBAC, child fines for special education and/or related aids and services. Revised policy JIC, student code of conduct.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Member Cook?
Looking at policy JIC, I noticed the reference at the bottom, and I'm just wondering if the policy committee would consider looking at the National Association of Family, School, and Community Engagement Resources. They have these 8 core competencies, and one of the things that's missing from this student code of conduct is families and caregivers, and I think that's really important at the, right now they're called consequence levels. And so I'm hoping we can look at those levels and integrate families and caregivers into those levels, because right now they're missing, and maybe reframe that language to make it more about those tiered interventions. So that's just a suggestion I have before the second reading.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Cook. Any other discussion? All set? All those in favor?
7-0, thank you.
All right. We're going to take revised policy JICJ separately. Superintendent Robinson?
Recommending approval of first reading of new and revised policy JICJ, student use of cell phones and other electronic devices.
And I have a motion.
I'd like to make a motion, if I could, please, to table this to the June 10th meeting. I have several questions about this, and I know that we were told we would get a report from Bangor High School about how the cell phone policy is doing this year. I'd love to hear that. I know last meeting we talked about having our student rep perhaps conducting a survey. So I have several questions tonight that I'd like to dig into tonight on this policy, if there's an appetite to continue to discuss further. But I'd like to make a motion that we table this till June, and I think we'd still be able to meet our August 1st deadline to have it approved.
Okay. There's a motion. Is there a second?
I will second it.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
7-0, thank you.
All right, moving on to committee updates. We have no committee appointments. Representatives' reports. Do we have any reports tonight? All right. Yeah, student committee is not here, remember. Reports, we have none. Any questions or comments from the committee at this point? Okay, seeing none, we move to information items. Important dates coming up. Monday, May 18, 2026, listening session regarding the reorganizational proposal, 5 to 6 p.m. at James F. Dowdy School. Monday, May 18, 2026, listening session regarding the reorganizational proposal, 6:30 to 7:30 at the William S. Cohen School. Thursday, May 28, 2026, regular meeting, 7 p.m. here in the council chambers. Wednesday, June 10, 2026, regular meeting of the school committee, 7 p.m., council chambers. Thursday, June 11, 2026, we have our school committee retreat, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the University of Maine at Augusta Bangor campus. Wednesday, June 17, 2026, we have the end of the year assembly, 7:45 a.m. at Peaks Auditorium. And finally, Wednesday, June 24, 2026, regular meeting of the school committee, 7 p.m. council chambers. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'm sorry, I should have
please.
asked this beforehand. Just for the people who are listening, the people left in the audience, we threw around some ideas about possibly having a workshop between now and then. Logistically, how would that happen if we do decide to do that? Just so people know whether or not it's happening. Will it be,
Typically, my assistant would reach out to coordinate dates that work for everyone. So we can attempt to do that, and that's tricky.
Yeah. I mean, I figured that's what was happening, but just for
Yeah.
people who are in the audience or listening from home, just
Yes.
thinking that we just forgot it. Okay, thank you.
Keep an eye on your email. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
7-0.
We are
Thank you.
adjourned.